Yeah, so your post-encounter. What do you want to do?
Beatrix, are you alright?
I'm hurting. I wouldn't like to see another direwolf walk out of the woods. But, I'll be okay if we can get back to the tavern, I think.
I think Shantae can help us out here.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Where does it hurt?
My everywhere. Pretty much. I got a good big bite in the shoulder here. I got a bite in the wrist over here. Kind of an upper body situation.
Okay, alright. Well, we'll, let's see, sheath the mace and, look for a good spot to put a hand, and says, well, the golden god will keep you, and will heal you for 13 points with the cure wounds.
Oh, thank you. 13 points, that's great. Here we go. How do I add hit points back again? I think it's been a little slow. Here we go. Where do I get it?
And in casting it, a small magical rose will grow and bloom out of Courage's hand, and then puff away into golden dust towards Beatrix.
Well, that's pretty. Is all your magic shaped like a rose?
It's kind of her brand.
Oh, okay. All right, sounds great. Well, I appreciate it very much. Thank you. If I could just figure out how to log it. If I click her 8 HP, nothing happens.
If you double click the in the middle of your screen where you've got your character picture, double click on the green bar on the right, it should open up a sliding scale where you can.
That is what I am doing, and nothing is happening. Hang on,
I think I can do it for you.
Oh, awesome! All right, if you wouldn't mind, and I can sort of mess with it in the meantime.
Yeah, it was 13 hit points total.
Yes, it was 13. In the meantime, I'm going to say, well, good job, and sort of pound Courage on the back, like, hey, well played. Shirley Thander was watching that one.
Anyone else? Lucian, Professor? Elandra, can you hear us?
I'm feeling fine, thank you very much.
And I believe Elandra's still a wolf?
Yes. I probably shouldn't be talking.
The party just hears...
Just transform back into an owl.
Rage.
So you dropped your wild shape?
Yes, please.
Is it a graceful transition?
I'd like to think so.
Okay. Like Animorphs?
Yeah.
What you doing, bud? What you got? What you doing?
Sally, sorry, quick question. Do you know what you were at? Because I had your tracker as being, at a max of 8 hit points. Is that...
Oh, no. My total HP is 26.
Sorry, what was your current hit point total after the
8?
8.
So it was 8.
Okay.
And the total that it is possible is 26. So.
It's 26. That much I knew. Okay.
Yeah.
That could be why the bar wasn't working.
Oh,
right.
That's probably why. I think you're right.
Okay, I think it fixed you.
Yay! Yeah, I see 21. There we go.
Excellent. All right. You guys headed back?
Let's go back to the tavern. Let them know they're safe.
Should we check these wolves or anything? Sorry, Lucian.
So I would suggest we look over these wolves, and specifically this larger breed of dire wolf, to see if we can find any hint as to why they might be attacking strangers along the road.
Good point.
Is there maybe even something that might let us know where they're coming from? Are they holed up? Do they have a den somewhere nearby? Something that might clue us into why they're attacking.
I have some understanding of animal behavior. I could potentially take a look. As we've, I think, pointed out, this is very unusual for wolves to be attacking in such a way, especially so close to a town.
Lucian's going to start looking kind of over the corpses, prodding them with his staff a bit, trying to look at their wounds, see if there's anything on their coats or pelts that indicates maybe if they were injured before this combat with his new companions. Anything unusual about them that he can see.
So Lucian and Callow, if you guys want to make nature checks or investigation checks, kind of depending on what you're looking for. Just let me know which one it is.
Callow would be looking more sort of at the surrounding area, looking at some of the tracks that the wolves have made, going for an investigation, sort of just kind of like the whole scene.
Okay.
Yes, if we have a minute here, I can ask for some help from Shantae as well. And we'll spend 10 minutes to ritually cast Detect Poison and Disease.
I rolled a 15 on investigation.
Okay.
Lucian rolled a 15 as well.
All right. And what did you roll, Lucian? What stat did you roll?
Investigation. I rolled it inside Alchemy. Yep.
Oh, thank you. Oh, yeah. It does say investigation right over that 15. All right. So with 15s, you examine the wolves, and they're dead, obviously. You don't necessarily notice anything particularly out of the ordinary. Their coats look very healthy. Like they're not mangy. They look like almost well cared for, which is a little bit unusual for wolves since, like they take care of themselves, but not in the wilds like this. Like they look well fed, maybe good nutrition. Just like their coats are really glossy, like almost like humans have been taking care of them.
This is so interesting. I mean, one of the reasons I didn't think it was worth it to even examine them is because in my experience, wolves attack because they're hungry. These wolves don't look hungry. Huh.
Is there any way I can use
they
like
look
a
well
detect
fed?
magic? Sorry, I think I interrupted someone.
You can use a detect magic. Let me check our roll thing. As in, I don't know how detect magic affects creatures. Okay, I would say, just for the purpose of expediency,
Yep.
You would know that, like, you could detect, or you could cast detect magic, but it would probably only work on, like, items that they were wearing in this case, since they're dead. So any spell effects on them would have ended with their death. I don't know if this is actually how the rules work, but I'll do more research, because that's a good question. So you don't have to waste a spell slot.
Cool.
Courage, you mentioned you were ritually casting Detect Poison and Disease. What does it look like when you do that?
It looks like... So ritual casting is different, where I think everyone else would hear Courage. Okay, Shantae, could use just a little more help here. All right, asking for a freebie. I want to figure out if these wolves have some poison. What's it going to take? All right, let's make a deal. Look, I already got spiritual weapon as a giant rose in your honor. Okay, we shouted, giving you lots of points, and it's just like 10 minutes of negotiation, bartering. Courage would be like, how about if I light a candle? A candle, would that help? And we'll go ahead and light a candle in this instance. And after 10 minutes, like, okay, we're agreed then. All right, let's do this. And then we'll cast detect poison and disease as normal.
Courage, when you talk to Shantae, does she talk back?
I mean, she prefers the term commune.
Okay, cool.
And I don't know if talk's the right word. It's more like vibe checks, feeling each other out.
I wish Lathander worked on vibe checks. I'd sleep a lot easier at night if he did.
While Courage is casting her ritual spell, which I assume is going to take a couple of minutes, Lucian is going to turn to the group and ask them, I'm going to ask my familiar to fly up and give us a view of the area to see if he can find anything. I will be relatively incoherent while this is happening and unaware of my surroundings. Please allow no one to touch me while I'm in this state.
Sure, thanks.
And he's
what kind of
So in the crook of his, that kind of gnarled wooden staff that he uses, there's a small black owl that's sleeping in the crook of it. And he's going to reach up and whisper to it, time to waken, old friend. And as it opens its eyes, it kind of has glowing orange eyes. And you see Lucian leans forward on the staff, holding onto it with both hands, closes his eyes and rests his head against it. And the owl flies up into the air.
Whoa. Beatrix is going to take up a ready stance in front of Lucian.
So as it is his familiar, I can see through its eyes. Let's see here. Let me just grab that quick. It's up to 100 feet. So I'll have Carradine kind of circle up above the trees or the roadway, whatever kind of landscape is around us, do kind of 100 feet around us, seeing what it can see as I look through its eyes.
Go ahead and make a perception check. I think you use the owl's.
I do. So
stat,
this is going to be, I'll just roll a d20 and then it'll be a +3 perception for the owl.
Alrighty.
So,
I'd say owls, if it doesn't specify already, owls also have dark vision.
Yep.
In my view.
Yep. Yeah, I've got the monster card up as a reference for him. So that'd be a 16 perception.
All right, 16. So as your owl, can you say his name again?
It's Carradine.
Carradine.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
This is
practicing Hieronymus.
As an aside, one of my favorite movies from my childhood is The Secret of Nim, and John Carradine was the actor who voiced the Great Owl. So Carradine is named after him.
Aww.
Cool.
That's why he's black with glowing orange eyes. Not quite as big.
So as Carradine flies up into the air, you can see through his eyes. Nothing. It's like nothing is out of the ordinary, right? Except, I'll come back to that. So you can see the town of Daggerford with the lights lit up, people sort of moving around within the town walls. You see a couple of travelers north on the road and a wagon, like, you know, clearly coming into town for the night. Town guards are out, and there's some woods nearby. And what Carradine and you, or I guess what you notice through Carradine's eyes, is that a heavy fog is beginning to creep out of the woods. And it's sort of rolling towards the town.
Lucian is going to pull back into himself with a final communication to Carradine to return to him. And I'm going to turn to the group and let them know there is some kind of strange, ominous-looking fog beginning to pour out of the woods headed toward Daggerford.
Okay, people, back to the tavern. Let's go, let's go, let's go! And Beatrix starts clapping her hands like a middle school gym teacher.
Now, how fast did this fog seem to be moving, and did it have any distinctive coloration to it that you could notice?
Can we talk about this over beer? Let's go, let's go, let's go!
Very well, very well.
I am going to guess that since Lucian thought it was ominous, maybe it is coming from an area where he knows there's no water source, so there should be no reason for fog to be kind of emitting itself from that section of the forest.
Yeah, I'd say that's right. It's not strangely colored or anything. It's very thick, and it's not... I don't want to say it's unnaturally fast. It is faster than one might expect fog to roll in, but it's not like immediately blanketing the area. It's creeping. But yeah, Lucian's spot on. There's he would know there's not a nearby water source. All right, you guys are headed back to the tavern?
Yes.
Oh, go ahead,
double quick time. And Beatrix is going to sort of start to shoo people and bring up the rear with her glaive.
Hold on, I've almost made a deal. How far are we into 10 minutes?
I would say you had already reached it, and your detect poison and disease comes back with nothing. The wolves are actually quite healthy.
Okay, do I detect anything on Lucian?
Lucian, does he detect anything on you?
What we're specifically looking for? Disease and or
poison.
No, he doesn't.
Okay. Good to hustle.
And as he questions that, Lucian is beginning to walk as Carradine comes back down, and again that phlegmy cough begins to kind of settle into him, and you see he pulls a small red handkerchief of some kind, and he keeps holding it up to his mouth as he's coughing, and as the fog continues to build and the air gets more and more moist, his cough is getting worse as he's making his way back toward Daggerford.
Are those of us on the ground able to see the fog at this point approaching, or is it still too far away to see from our position on the ground?
I would say as you start walking, you start to see the fog rolling in. And especially as you get closer to the town and back to the tavern, assuming everyone's headed back, Beatrix in the back.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, as you head back, the fog creeps closer to town, and as you enter back into the city gates, the damp cobbled pavement glistens as the lights of the street lantern dance across the slick stones. But before you can get inside the Lady Luck Inn, the fog really seeps into your bones in this way that feels like it's going to stubbornly remain. But you enter the tavern, and people are still sitting around tables talking and laughing. You smell delicious food. The ale is frothy, and a warm fire blazes in the hearth. As you guys walk in, you see the bartender look up towards the door, unless there's anything you'd like to do before you enter. And the bartender says, well, I'll be damned. You made it back.
5 wolves, ma'am. 3 regular size, 2 dire wolves.
Dire wolves? You've not seen those around these parts.
I haven't seen one either, not in a long, long time. And these ones looked well fed and cared for.
But 'twas no problem for this brave group of adventurers with the assistance of Shantea, Keeper of the Wilds.
Do you have any proof you killed these wolves? If so, I'll go ahead and send for the head of the town guard.
Well, you'll find the bodies laying out not far from the edge of town if you want to send the town guard to look for them. We thought it was better to get inside ahead of the creepy fog that just rolled in.
We do get some fog from time to time. Yeah. And she'll just nod and go back to her work.
You're so tough. You're so brave.
Well, whatever. I guess not every good deed goes rewarded. Does anyone want beer? I want beer.
I wouldn't say no to a pint.
I will take some.
I do believe we were promised payment.
Well, dearie, you're gonna... I assume you're talking to Glennis. Or sorry, the bartender. You don't know her name. Dear, you're gonna have to bring some proof back if you want that payment. We can't just have anyone coming in here saying that they slayed those wolves. Though you all do look a bit worse for wear. I'll at least give you drinks on the house.
Much appreciated. Could we get 5 pints of whatever's your favorite?
I'm going to interrupt and just request an herbal tea.
Oh, sure. Sorry. Shouldn't have assumed.
Lucian is going to ask for a small cup of wine, heated as hot as they can make it, please.
Red or white, honey?
Red, please. And
Would
with
you
that,
like any spices in that wine?
No. Just wine, thank you. And he's going to, again, have a little bit of a coughing fit as he sits, trying to get it under control.
So what is it, dude? Asthma? Allergies?
He's going to look at each of you, and you see his shoulders slump a little bit. And he's going to say, it's my particular affliction is something that my choices have earned me. I promise you it is not catching in any way, nor is it something that will be easily healed. Some might call it a curse. To me, it was simply a payment for services rendered.
If it isn't too personal a question, I'd love to know what you got in exchange for coughing forever.
I'm gonna let the dice decide on what I say here. Odds and evens. Odds. He is going to, from inside of his robes, he pulls out a small white leather wrapped book with silver filigree around the edges. There's a small intricate lock of some kind that keeps the book closed. He simply pats that and then slips it back into his pocket.
Whoa! Well, that's a beautiful book.
All warlocks have to pay some price to their patron. Mine, for the possession of this book, was unfortunately my health.
Well, do you feel like the trade was worth it?
He scoffs at that a little bit. And you hear him kind of mutter as he turns his chair toward the fire to warm himself. Is anything worth more than power?
Oh, I'll tell you this much for free. I would give up every little bit of power I've gotten from my relationship with this guy, and she points to the sky, in exchange for my best friend back.
While they're chatting, Courage is going to continue to talk to the bartender a little more.
Sure.
I'm sorry, miss. I didn't catch your name before.
Oh, I'm Glennis Orcslayer. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Glennis Orcslayer. Now, that is an awesome name. Oh.
Well, thank you.
I assume you come from a long line of Orcslayers.
I do indeed. My grandfather actually helped found this town. Found this tavern. There were a bunch of orcs living here, and he slayed them. So now we're the Orcslayers, and the tavern's been passed down to me.
There were orcs living in this tavern?
In the tavern. I know Daggerford used to be a very different place.
Amazing. And why, do you know why he named it the Lady Luck Inn?
Well, of course, it was Lady Luck that aided him.
You don't say. A man that worked with the gods? Or is that a figure of speech?
Oh, no, of course. Well, hold on, what's her name in D&D? I know her name in other things. Timora, naturally. I mean, there's a temple down the street to Timora. She aided him.
Timora. That's fantastic. Are you also a fan of Timora?
Oh, well, of course, to the extent that I'm a fan of all the gods, or none of them. But I'm grateful to her. I pay my penance every so often. Thank her for keeping this tavern in the family.
Indeed, indeed. Well, I understand then that you're a person of faith. I'll ask you to have a little faith in us, and judging by the scars in my friend there, pointing at Beatrix, and the blood on my mace, I can assure you we've done the deed you asked. I would ask that you also keep your word to the promises you made to us as a fellow woman of God.
I'll study you for a second. Just make a persuasion check for me.
Okay. Easy. You're all right. You're okay. No, easy.
Is she still studying me?
Shh.
Oh, sorry. I said, can you make a persuasion check for me?
Oh.
I was like, where is the persuasion check happening?
You gotta go lay down.
Yeah, sounds good enough. So she studies you, and then she'll lean over to a different patron at the bar. She'll be like, can you go grab the master of the town militia? And they'll nod, and she'll toss them a silver piece, and they'll nod and get up and leave the bar.
Thank you, Glennis. It will be appreciated, both by my compatriots and by Shantae herself. You know what we say, that money donated to the temple of the church would return to the giver tenfold. I assure you it's going straight into here, and Courage will pat the alms box that she carries.
Well, let's certainly hope that's the case. It's not necessarily that I didn't believe you, just You'll have to convince the commander of the town militia instead of me. How about that?
Is there are there windows? Oh, sorry. Go ahead,
Sorry,
Tom.
Tom's delayed by about 5 seconds, I think.
I'll sit back with the group and explain the situation.
Go ahead, Connor.
Is there a window nearby where we are in the tavern?
Oh yeah.
I just would like to kind of look out the window and just sort of see where the fog is relative to the town and the tavern and everything.
You look out the window and it looks foggy. It's not oppressive exactly. Like, you can still see through the fog, you just can't see far distances.
Okay. So it doesn't seem like an unusual fog at this point.
Yeah. Only in that you're unsure where it came from. That's to the extent that Callow might think about that. Like, at least me, Emily, I certainly don't think about where fog comes from. Callow, what are you drinking? I know Beatrix wanted ale, Lucian's getting some hot wine, Elandra's gonna have herbal tea.
Oh, a simple ale is fine for me. I don't have very sophisticated tastes when it comes to food and drink.
Well, absolutely. We're happy to serve you simple ale. We're simple folk around here. And you with the shield. You do ask my name, but I didn't ask yours. What's your name? I'm talking to Courage.
Courage Puredeed, a simple ale for me as well would be great. Thank you. Can I help you bring it over?
Sure, I won't say no to some free help. You're not going to expect me to pay you for helping bring the drinks over, right?
No, of course not.
Okay. Yeah, brings drinks over to, I assume you all are sitting at a table.
We'll flip the shield over, use it as a tray.
Thank you, ma'am.
Well, you're welcome.
Elandra's gonna just ask, kind of look around and observe all the patrons. Can you talk about who's in the tavern?
Sure, I would be happy to talk about who's in the tavern. You see... You see, we're going to say 6 notable people. There are other big people around. We'll say there's like 12 people in here total, which it's a smaller tavern, so it feels not small. So that feels like a good number. Think Dive Bar in Wisconsin.
What is wrong?
But the nice kind. Most of them look like they are farmers or sailors or traders. Like these are good of the earth type folk.
Anything unusual happening?
Nothing unusual seems to be happening. People are just chatting amongst themselves. I'd say the only thing that might seem unusual to Elandra is that everyone in here is human. It's not weird per se, but she might notice, and it'd be up to her if she feels out of place. So after, do you have any other? I'm
Nope.
happy to describe folks to you if you want to know more. We've got some miners in here.
All good.
All right. So after a few minutes, you guys are enjoying your drinks and talking. You see the same person that Glennis had sent off return. They have with them someone in a full suit of armor. She looks to be about mid-30s, female human. She's got jet black hair and a messy bun on top of her head, mischievous brown eyes. And when she walks in, you see everyone look towards the door, and they all sort of like nod in respect to her, but continue on with their business. And the person who'd gone to get her points in your direction, and she strolls over, pulls out a chair, turns it around, sits in it backwards, and is like, Well, I hear you took care of our wolf problem for us.
At least 5 of them, anyway. If you had more than that, I don't know what to tell you.
Well, it's always tough to really get a grip on these things, especially when your soldiers are running off scared or, falling in the line of duty. I'm Sherlin Spearslayer, by the way, commander. You can call me Sherlin, call me commander, whichever you prefer. Who are all of you?
Good to meet you, Commander. Beatrix Breakbones.
Pleasure. Shakes your hand. She's got a strong grip.
Professor Hieronymus Callow, if you please.
Pleasure to make your acquaintance.
Let's see.
The rest of y'all involved?
Lucian's is watching on, but he's kind of sinking into the cowl of his robes and kind of breathing in some of the warm fumes of the hot wine. Watching, but not necessarily taking a direct part.
And I'm Courage Puredeed, hero of Shantea. These are our other compatriots, Elandra and Lucian. Spearslayer, that's a great name.
Why, thank you. I certainly like it. I appreciate the alliteration that my parents thought to endow me with.
Hey, me too!
Now, as I understand it, Glennis Orcslayer explained her family name come from her grandfather slaying the orcs that used to live here.
Oh, sure. Everyone knows about Daryl Orcslayer. He's quite the hero around here.
Does your family name have a story?
I mean, not to my knowledge, but now that you say it, I should probably ask my parents. But let's get back to these wolves. I'm a busy woman. I've had a long shift today, and I'm ready to go home. You got any proof for me? Wolf heads? Wolf pelts? Wouldn't mind a wolf pelt.
Unfortunately, the fog rolled in from out of nowhere with no body of water nearby at an unnaturally fast rate, so we booked it. But there are 5 corpses out there if you care to take a look. They're not very far beyond the town walls. There are 3 regular-sized wolves, and there are 2 dire wolves, and the thing that is weird, and you'll have to let us know if you've noticed the same, these wolves look cared for and fed. I don't know, in my experience during my turn as a town guardswoman, wolves that attack people tend to be really, really hungry and scrawny. So this was weird.
That does seem very unusual. Well, I have to admit I'm a little surprised that adventurers such as yourself that manage to slay 5 wolves are scared of a little fog. We just get fog sometimes. But I'll have some of my men check it out, and if your story proves to be true, I'll leave payment with you, or leave payment with Glennis here. You can collect it in the morning. How does that sound?
Great, thanks. I wouldn't say we were scared of the fog, but I don't think anyone should be out in that longer than they have to. It's not natural. And if I were to venture a guess, I would guess that the unnatural wolves and the unnatural fog probably come from the same place.
Well, that's a mighty interesting guess indeed.
Just as an
Callow
aside,
will,
Elandra would have probably crouched or made a noise of some kind with the comment about wolf pelts.
Oh, like flinched?
Yeah, thank you.
Callow will sort of turn to Beatrix and say, "Now, Miss Breakbones, what is it that you have against fog? It seems that the fog really unnerved you quite suddenly. Was there some sort of bad experience or something that happened to you in the fog in the past?"
Unnatural fog rolled into my town the night the person I cared about most in the world disappeared.
And well, as a scholar of the natural world, I'm curious to know what you would define as unnatural fog.
Well, first of all, it moved really fast. Second, there are no big bodies of water near my town from which fog might have arisen to roll off. Third, it's also on top of a hill. Fog tends to collect in valleys. So, between all of that, I mean, listen, we have no idea where she went. I've been looking for clues for weeks. One of the few that I have is the weird fog the night that she disappeared. So, you'll forgive me if I didn't want all of us to be snatched off the trail by something.
Well, if the fog did roll into your town as you described, that does sound unusual, to be sure.
Listen, I've lived in that town my whole life. My mother, and my mother's mother, and my mother's mother's mother, and so on, and so on, and so on far back. And I've spent a lot of time patrolling its borders. I know what's weird and what's not weird, and that fog was weird.
Indeed, there's definitely something to be said for the generational experience of a place and its biosphere. So I would trust your opinion on unusual atmospheric conditions in your own hometown.
Well, thank you very much, Professor.
Well, Lady Spearslayer, are you sure? Can we tempt you to join us for a bit for a beverage?
Well, I certainly won't say no to a beverage.
Oh. Glennis.
Yeah?
One of Miss Spearslayer's usuals, if you will.
She nods, and you see her turn around, and she pours tall glass of gin.
Amazing.
Look, badass women always drink whiskey in movies, and I'm here to change that.
I'm gonna turn to her and I'm gonna say, listen, have you noticed any unusual disappearances? Have any of the townsfolk gone mysteriously missing?
You know, it's funny you ask. No mysterious disappearances here lately.
Huh. Well, I thought I might as well ask, just in case. I've been getting that answer a lot.
Report something? Do you know of a disappearance here in Daggerford?
Not here in Daggerford, no. It was the same person I was referring to.
Oh, your friend with the fog.
Yeah.
They disappeared into the fog. Are you sure she didn't just run away?
Yes, I'm sure she didn't just run. I'm sorry. A lot of people ask me that. I'm very sure she didn't run away. And Beatrix is going to sort of try to fan herself to calm herself down.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to upset you there. Do you want to talk about what happened? We've all got drinks. I'm sure we'd love to hear a story.
Sure. Okay. Well, my friend's name is Judith. We're both 28. She would have turned 28 last week. Anyway, Judith comes to about here on me, and I stand up and I point to my shoulder. Dark hair, dark eyes, very pretty, very sort of mischievous looking, and she was mischievous. About 2 months ago and change, she just vanished. She vanished from her home. She was married. Her husband didn't have any idea where she might have gone, and, you know, as I was saying to my dad is basically the you for our town. You know, it's always the husband. He must have made her disappear, but no, he had an alibi. He had a cast iron alibi. So he didn't make her disappear, or if he did, he hired somebody to do it. He didn't do it himself. I don't know. She had a reputation for being kind of flighty, and people really held it against her. and everyone was convinced she ran away, but she would never have left me like that. Never. And the thing is, about a month after she disappeared, after everybody was getting really sick of me asking questions around town about her, and especially her husband, he said, there's an enemy I can say I made fair and square. I woke up in the middle of the night with a voice in my ear, and the voice said, "You're not wrong. Many innocents have been taken. It is your task to stop this." And ever since then, I've had the god Lathander talking in my ear. So I've been, for the past few weeks, riding around from town to town, trying to identify any patterns, see if there are any other disappearances that sound like what happened to Judith. I have to get her back, and if I can't get her back, I have to take revenge on whoever took her away from me.
I am so sorry for your loss. I do have one question. Well, but first I should say, we'll keep an eye out for Judith here. I haven't seen anyone that matches that description precisely. I mean, lots of people match it generally. But I'll keep an eye out for a single woman matching that. I have to ask, how do you know it's Lathander speaking to you?
Oh, he said so many times. And, you know, folks at the temples that I've been to have been able to confirm that what I'm describing sounds like him. Look, you have to understand, I didn't grow up in a religious family. I mean, we went to temples on occasional big holidays or whatever, but I was sort of vaguely aware of Lathander, but we weren't faithful, you know what I mean? We respected the gods, but we felt we had our sphere and they had theirs, and there was no reason for them to interfere, so I was really shocked when Lathander started talking to me. But there it is, and if his aid is gonna help me do what I need to do, then I'm happy to take it.
Oh, Spear Slayer, you asked the smart questions, though. Beatrix, you should be careful. There's Sirik, you know, the Deceiver, the Dark Sun. It would be just like him to say that he was Lathander and ask folks to do his bidding.
Well, the thing is, Lathander hasn't asked me to do anything that doesn't sound out of order for Lathander to ask. You know, if he were asking me to, I don't know, brain folks and tie them up or whatever, I'd be a little more wary, but mostly what he seems to want me to do is ride around and ask people questions about disappearances.
Aye, but if you were trying to deceive somebody into believing that you were in truth a well-meaning god, wouldn't you want to start with some relatively innocuous requests?
On the one hand, sure, fine. On the other hand, you don't have to live with this guy in your head, okay? Like, if I say, no thank you, I'd rather not, he makes it really noisy in here. And since what he's asking for me to do is not all that unreasonable, I might as well. If he ever asks me to do something that goes against what I believe is right, then I won't do it, and I guess I'll, I don't know, get myself back to a temple of Lathander as quickly as I can and ask for more spiritual help. God, I've spoken to more friggin' clerics. Sorry, Courage. But for the moment, I guess my goals and the goals of whoever's talking to me seem to align, so if listening gets me what I want, then I might as well.
That certainly sounds like it could be Lathander. He's known for his zealotry and excess. Kind of sounds like But he's still great, and, you know, you're lucky to be in his employ.
Yeah. Honestly, if when all this is over, he'll get out of my head, I won't mind. I'll always be grateful, especially if I get my friend back in one piece, but I won't mind.
Well, if you'd like to come down to the station in the morning, we'd be happy to have our local artist draw up a picture of Judith, and we can keep her picture, in the barracks, so folks keep an eye out for her. Will you be in town for a while? Is there a way for me to notify you if I see her?
Yeah, I'll be staying here for a little while. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. People aren't always this kind,
Well, it sounds like you've been to some not great places. Daggerford is welcoming. We're excited to have you here.
Well, as long as, we'd love to stop by the station, especially if there's some other hero jobs that could be done. I might stay for a bit. I can't speak for the others, but I would love for them to join me as noble compatriots. But yeah, are there other jobs, mysteries, shenanigans, monsters, anything that comes to mind that you could use a hero for?
If you really took care of the wolves, like you say, then I think we're okay on the monster front. There's always little things around town. You're welcome to come down and volunteer for a bit. I can't always promise pay, though.
Courage! I mean,
no
I'm not involved with Lathander by choice, really. How did you get into this whole doing the gods' bidding business?
And Miss Spearslayer, I would love to join your guards in the morning too on the journey out to check for the wolves. Especially if they're not there, I'd be curious if we could try to track them. Well, Beatrix, it runs in the family. My mother Faith was is an acolyte for the goddess of bountiful nature.
Well, I know something about that. We are apt to be born into other people's jobs, aren't we?
Maybe, but I've taken a different path. I'm not an acolyte for Shantae. I'm a hero for her.
So, semantic question. Is there something you have to do before you say you're a hero for somebody? Like, is there like a level that you have to hit? Or can you just sort of say, yeah, I have a calling, I'm a hero now? Just out of curiosity.
I imagine it's like anything. Miss Spearslayer, what was your town title?
Oh, I'm the commander of the town militia.
Commander of the town militia. And perhaps there was an election or you were appointed, but at some point you just are the commander of the town militia, and as long as you act like it and people see you're doing a good job and believe in it, then they will continue respecting that title. Whereas if they see that you're failing in what that position would entail, that title might come into question. I imagine it's the same with the hero. You're kind of defined by what you do, and if you call yourself something but can't back it up, then the truth will be known.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Fake it till you make it kind of approach. Courage, you asked if you could join in the morning. Absolutely, we'll be up at daybreak and head out there. Just come down to the barracks, or you can actually meet us down at the town gate. That's actually just fine. Meet us there, and we can go check out these wolves.
And Courage would know that gate, right? That she had already walked through it earlier.
Yeah, same gate. Sherlyn will pound the rest of her ale, or sorry, her gin. Yeah. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Tom.
Nope, done.
Okay. Pound the rest of her gin and be like, well, folks, I appreciate the drink, appreciate the stories. I'll see ya. Got an early morning tomorrow, just like you guys. See you in the morning.
Take care. Thanks for everything.
No problem. And she'll head out waving to folks as she leaves the bar, and they're like, bye, Charlene, bye, Commander. Like, seems like she's well liked.
Well, I can't say that I'm exactly what you might call hero material. I'd like to think that I will step in and heed any sort of call if necessary. But well, I'm more of an explorer than an adventurer, if we're talking semantics, Ms. Breakbones. So I can't say that I will be joining you as a volunteer with the town guard here, but it has been quite instructive to fight beside such interesting companions this evening. And, well, instructive, especially since we all came back mostly in one piece.
Well, thank you. I would tend to agree. Elandra, how'd you end up in Daggerford?
Professor Callow, I think you sell yourself short.
Oh, well, I do appreciate the compliment, but I perhaps if I were a younger gnome, I may be interested in the slightly more dangerous work. But well, I'm more of a scholar than anything else, and when I can apply my knowledge, as I believe I did today, using my careful mixing of various components, it can prove beneficial. But I don't believe that the particularly dangerous adventuring life is ahead of me.
Elandra will respond to you and just say that not knowing people well enough, she's just going to say that she's on the hunt for the Moonshade mushroom.
Oh, do they grow locally?
Yes, they do.
Do you use them for something in particular, or do they just taste good?
Just some rituals and spells.
Cool.
Elandra, I may be able to help you find it.
Yeah?
It's, if I think if you could, describe it or show me a picture, it's, sometimes if I'm familiar with something, I can, sense if it's in the area. Similarly, as Beatrix, I was going to say to you, if there was something that you think Judith might have, I might be able to tell you at least if she's in Daggerford.
Something she might have. Tell me more.
Well, Shantea, being the Golden God, has bestowed me with a number of gifts, and one is to be able to ask for her to sense whether I'm near something. It can be tricky. It's I haven't used it that often, but I understand it has to be something I'm familiar with. I'm not sure if I can describe it. You would think Shantea would just know what I'm talking about, being a god, but, gods have their rules. But if I'm familiar with something and can ask for Shantea if it's within 1,000 feet of me, I did ask her, what if it's 1,001 feet of me? She said no. That's, gotta draw the line somewhere. And the way that circles work, it's radius. It expands greatly as you get to large numbers.
There was a pendant she wore.
But yeah, that's maybe able to. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, gold plated on silver, and she'd been wearing it long enough that some of the silver showed through a little bit. And it was a 5-pointed star on a chain. I can't say for certain she was wearing it when she was taken, but she almost never took it off. So, it's the best bet I can think of. I mean, it was night, So, she wasn't wearing, like, her normal clothes, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I have a feeling that one might be tricky. Do you think you could draw it as well?
Sure! And I take a piece of paper out of my pocket and I start drawing the star and the chain. I hold it up.
Okay, yeah, we can give that a try. Let's see, this one, she was a bit, I think, miffed from our earlier dealings. So
maybe if you tell her Lathander wants her to do it.
That's actually might get us some leeway. At least I hope they're still on good terms. And Courage will take the drawing and stand up and kind of start making a circle around the whole bar. And she will... Oh, yeah. Locate object. Easy. Will kind of be using the shield as a divining rod as she negotiates with Shantea and just casts locate object.
All right. So you're walking around the bar?
Yes.
Okay. So you all see Courage walking around holding out her shield. And Courage, you walk around and you don't get any pings with this spell on the pendant. You're not sure if it's because it's not close by, if Shantea is mad at you, or maybe you just didn't have a good picture of the pendant.
While he's doing that, and Lucian is watching him, he very quickly casts a message and begins to, in Courage's head, as she's walking about the room, going, cold, colder, colder, coldest, nearly frozen, you're so cold.
And it's clearly Lucian's voice.
Yeah, he's not hiding it at all.
Okay. I think she smiles at him while continuing the spell, and then we'll return to the table. I'm sorry, Beatrix. I can't be certain, but it's I didn't detect anything. So I would guess she's at least not in these immediate parts. Elandra, I could try tomorrow with your mushrooms.
Well, thank you for trying. I do appreciate it.
That sounds lovely. I appreciate it. And I'm going to just push over a drawing of my mushroom.
Is it a good drawing?
Yes. It's exquisite.
I bet that. I won't make you roll for it because I feel like this is something as a druid you'd be very good at, who's drawing these diagrams of various herbs, fungi, plants, etc. As you guys are playing this hilarious game of hot and cold and draw the things for Courage, the tavern door suddenly swings open and a hush falls over the room. Framed by the lamplit fog, a form strides in through the doorway. His heavy booted footfalls and the jingle of coins shatter the silence. His brightly colored clothes are draped in loose folds about him, and his hat hangs askew, hiding his eyes in shadow. Without hesitation, he walks up to your table and stands proudly in a wide stance with folded arms. I hear you assisted this fine town earlier this evening with a little wolf problem. Is that you?
Yup.
Excellent. My master has sent me to deliver this message. If you are persons of honor, you will come to his aid at first light. After all, it is not advisable to travel the Svalvich woods at night.
Lucian would like to try to determine what that accent is. Has he ever heard it before?
Sure, roll a history check. Oh, damn, that was really good. Okay, that's a natural 20. Can you remind me how old Lucian is?
327.
327. Okay. You wouldn't have heard this accent before. But you know it's related to accents of this place that is rumored to have existed. God, I can't believe you rolled a natural 20. It's rumored to have existed from before you were born. It's mostly just talked about in myth and legends, this valley that disappeared off the map. Folks really aren't sure why, but you know, or from where. Like, it's not like there's a big chunk of Faerun just missing. But you know that when you've read stories about it, and they write down the words like with the accent affected in there, the way that you might read in a text, that it might sound something like this.
Mm-hmm.
Emily, can you repeat the last part of what he said?
Oh yes, he said. I'll say it without the accent. If you're persons of honor, you will come to his master's aid at first light. After all, it is not advisable to travel the Svalvich woods at night.
Didn't you just travel the woods at night to get here, presumably?
Are the trees plotting?
No. I did not travel through the woods this night. I was in town. I heard about your adventures. News travels very fast here. And from his tunic, he will pull out a sealed letter that on the front is written in this lovely script to the heroes of Daggerford. And he'll drop the letter on the table. If you are interested in helping my master, please take the west road from here, some 5 hours march through the woods. There you will find him, in Barovia.
What?
And you want us there at first light, or we should leave at first light?
No, I'm advising you to wait till leave in the morning. I would not travel at night. The woods are very dangerous. You know of the wolves.
Yes, absolutely. Except I think
you can leave tonight if you want to. You don't have to wait, but
no. And I do have another quest at first light, so can I do this at second light?
Sure, absolutely. But my master does need help, so I advise you make haste in the morning after your first quest.
What does he need?
You will see. You will find it in the letter. Also, I think this should show up. Oh, did nothing happen? There it is. This is what the guy looks like. Can you guys see this? I've never handouted it before.
Nope.
No? Okay, let's try this. Did that work?
No.
No.
Where are we supposed to be looking?
I don't know how to make a handout show up. I clicked it and then...
If you right click on the handout or edit the handout, does it give you the option to add like who can view it?
Oh, I bet that's it. Sharing.
There might also be an option to post to journal. I'm not sure if that's everywhere yet.
That is not everywhere yet, but that's exactly what I'd want it to do.
Yep.
Okay, there you go.
New
Now
handout,
you should be able to
Mysterious
see what it looks like.
Stranger. Ah.
Oh.
Totally not what I thought he looked like.
Me either.
He looks like Alfie Allen.
Yes, he totally does. He totally does.
I'm gonna ask what this nighttime conspiracy is.
I don't understand nighttime conspiracy.
Why is there a problem with the woods at night here?
Oh, it's all woods. You just don't travel in the woods at night. They're dangerous creatures. Wolves and bears and whatnot.
Is that it?
I mean, you can. I just don't advise it, is all. And it rhymed, so I thought it sounded good.
Do you practice your speeches in general?
Well, not usually. But I was a little nervous to talk to you all because you're heroes now, so...
Okay, cool.
How long has it been since we actually killed these wolves?
I'm gonna say about 1.5 to 2 hours.
Well, Courage, I think you're the self-identified hero here. So if you want to read the letter to us...
Well,
Excellent, you will come. And he walks over to the bar.
But before he walks away, Lucian will kind of put his staff out to block his way for a moment and say, you've delivered his letter, but you have yet to tell us who exactly is your master.
Oh, he's the burgomaster. Kolyan Indirovich. It's in the letter. Glennis. Sorry, you're not done yet.
Moment. Tell me there. How exactly? You said word travels fast around here, but well, it's barely been 2 hours since we actually killed those meddlesome wolves. How exactly would word have traveled so fast, particularly to your master, who is, as you say, a 5-hour journey through the woods?
Oh yes, I see why this would be confusing. No. I've been on the lookout for heroes for quite some time. I was already in town. I'm acting as like the voice, the mouthpiece for my master. He didn't specifically. I wrote to the heroes of Daggerford on the letter. He wrote the letter itself, but he charged me with finding someone to help us with this problem.
I see.
We have a monster is attacking the town, so it'd be very helpful.
Did we get his name?
No, though I think I heard Courage try to ask it from the other room.
Yeah, muted. What's your name, sir? In case your master asks.
Yes, I'm Adigal.
Adigal.
Arigal is Adigal.
You have a last name like
Not even close.
letter giver or?
No last names. My people do not have last names. Just singular names, like Cher. The famous Vistani performer. Everyone knows this. Okay. I've got places to be.
Insight check. Have I ever heard the word Vistani? Heard it, read it.
Sure.
Insight or history? Which would you prefer?
I actually think history is more appropriate here. 18. Yeah, you would have heard of the Vistani. You know that they are traveling people who move around in beautiful wagons. They do a lot of trade. They have great parties. Is one of the stereotypes about the Vistani. Yeah, I feel like that's right. I'm trying to double check something. There's been some updates, but yeah, that's the gist of it. Did you have further questions? I might be able to answer questions.
Nope, that's good. Just want to know if it was something that we would have heard.
I wonder what real world analog that could be based on.
Yeah, so they did publish like an update, and I thought I had it pulled up, but I do not. But that's still generally going to be true of the Vistani. They do not have a negative reputation.
Okay.
In this world.
Cool. So Courage, as our hero, you want to read it out loud to the rest of us?
Courage will smile. It's like, Beatrix, tonight we're all heroes, and we'll unroll it onto the table and hold her mace over it, still casting light, I believe.
As you unroll the letter, Arigal walks over to the bartender and says, Glennis, Fill the glasses for one and all. Everyone in here is obviously parched, and we should be celebrating this great victory. And he drops a big, heavy purse, clearly filled with gold coins, on the bar and strides out. And we're going to take a break there. I'll give you the letter when we come back.
Wow.
Alrighty. So, this letter has been dropped on the table before you. The mysterious figure Aragal has strewn out into the night. Strided?
Strewn. Spewed?
He left.
Oh no, I can't read cursive. Only common.
I can do it, I guess.
I
My
tried to
mom's
put the
writing.
text.
Yeah.
There should be text
Yep.
below it, right?
Yeah,
Can you
Yeah,
see
it
that?
is.
Oh, okay, good. Because I agree, it's very hard to read. Go ahead.
Hail to thee of might and valor. I, a lowly servant of Barovia, send honor to thee. We plead for thy so desperately needed assistance. The love of my life, Irina Kolyana, has been afflicted by an evil so deadly that even the good people of our village cannot protect her. She languages from her wound, and I would have her saved from this menace. There is much wealth in this community. I offer all that might be had to thee and thy fellows, if thou shalt but answer my desperate plea. Come quickly, for her time is at hand. All that I have shall be thine. Polyan Indirovich, Burgomaster. Well, he sounds desperate, but shouldn't he be sending for the finest medical minds? Why would he want a bunch of people who just laid to waste a bunch of wolves?
Yes, or head to the temple.
Any of you heard of Barovia before? I've never heard of Barovia. And I was pretty good at geography in school.
Have any of us heard of Barovia?
Have I heard of Barovia?
Anyone that wants to can roll a history check. I'll tell you it's going to be a very high DC. Lucian, I think we talked earlier. I would say when you hear him say that, or when you hear the name Barovia, you make that connection with the accent of like, oh yeah, this is that place that I read about that like existed and then didn't exist.
Ooh, that's a natural one. For a 7, so, but still.
Nope, never heard of it.
Yeah.
It's like Jaime got a 20, Courage got an 18.
I would say Courage, you also have not heard of it. Yeah. And Lucian is really only able to put the name with the accent because of his natural 20 earlier.
So Lucian will relate what little he knows of Barovia, stating that, in one of the ancient texts that he had read through in his time at Candlekeep, he had heard of a reference of a land called Barovia that had been lost, that had some kind of a specific accent, but that he doesn't recall much beyond that other than it was some lost land.
Well, I'm not going to deny a call for aid. Hopefully that's something
On the one hand, this...
we can do. Assuming I would love for you all to go forward.
Well, I knew that I had said before that I'm not much of a hero or not much of an adventurer, but, I don't want to brag or anything, but it does sound as though if there is some sort of medical affliction that this lady is suffering from, perhaps this may actually be more suited to my expertise than ridding a town of a monster, for instance.
So Beatrix is closing her eyes, and she's saying in her head, this could be a wild goose chase, but a disappearing land might be a good place to look for a person who disappeared. Big guy, do I go do this thing or not? And she waits for the response.
I'd say, just for funsies, roll a religion check for me. Because whenever do you get to roll religion checks? I don't even know what we use them for.
Well,
I should research this.
Encourages experience.
Here we go. Religion. Ooh, 19.
All right. You hear it's a resounding clue, and it's the big guy's voice. I really wish that I could do like a deep baritone of like, yes, Beatrix, this is what I want. Please go after this. You made the connection brilliantly. Disappearance, go to the place that disappeared. You've got it, girl.
Oh, well, okay. That's the nicest you've sounded in a while. All right.
I'm sorry,
okay.
do I not usually sound this nice? I've had some wine.
Okay. Okay. All right. I'll do it. I open my eyes back up and I say, Lathander says that I gotta go. I gotta do this. So, I'm in. Maybe in a disappearing land, there will also be my disappearing friend.
What say you, Lucian, Elandra?
I'm in. Mainly because it appeals to my adventurous spirit.
That's nice!
Huzzah!
My interest is piqued, at least for now. The idea of seeing what has been called a lost land or a lost place. I'm seeking out lost things, so at least for now, I think our paths converge, and I'll continue with you all.
Lucian, I didn't realize you were seeking something lost too. I'm of no use tonight, but I offer the same help that I offered to Beatrix and Elandra.
I appreciate that, but I don't think my drawing skills are quite up to par.
Happy to help. Seems you're pretty descriptive.
But in a mysterious way, right?
Well, I'm not quite sure how one would... how does one draw the mysteries of the other side? How would one depict what one can only see when one lies in its grave?
When you mean the other side, do you mean like the afterlife?
Indeed.
Have you been there?
I have not, but I have certainly had conversations with those who have.
Fascinating.
You mean ghosts or zombies or resurrected ones? How dead are we talking?
Those things which somehow find life beyond the end of the normal mortal coil. Those who come back as undead things.
And you talk to them?
Some of them, yes.
What do they say?
Mostly, they ask me to find things. Truthfully, there are those that demand I find certain things.
I know what that's like. And you mostly do?
Some of it, yes. There's a few things that I still seek that have proven rather elusive thus far.
And Barovia may have them.
A lost land that seems to surround itself with secrets. Or somehow a burgomaster more than 5 hours away can somehow get us a letter, having heard of our dispatching wolves only 2 hours ago. It seems a mysterious place, and I, for one, can never turn down a good mystery.
Excellent. All right. Well, I need something a little stronger than an ale to celebrate, cause the voice in my head was nicer to me than he's ever been, and I have a direction which way to go. I'm gonna get a shot of whiskey. Does anyone want a shot of whiskey? It is on me. I will get the whiskey. Anyone? Anyone?
You may also recall that before he left, Aragol had said drinks for everyone in the tavern.
Oh, that's right. It's on him. It doesn't have to be on me. Great. Okay.
Or if you want, you can totally have Beatrix take credit. It's just Emily as DM is reminding you that this is the case.
She's not that crafty.
I would have what that Slayer spear had. That looked interesting.
Gin? Gin? All right, I'll get you gin. Cool. Anyone else? Or is it just me and Courage?
I think just another ale for me. Not necessarily ready to celebrate much of anything. It seems we have an interesting road ahead of us.
All right, well, there may not be whiskey for a long way. I don't know what they drink in Barovia, so... And I'm going to go to the bar and I'm going to put my order in with Glynis.
The drinks.
Lucian is going to make his way over to the bar as well. And he is going to ask Glynis for some more warmed wine. But he's also going to ask her if she has ever come across Aragol before. Has he been here in her tavern? Has she served him before?
Well, yeah, that fella did look kind of familiar. I mean, we've got Vistani that come in and out all the time. I've seen Aragol around here the last couple of days, so yeah, I've seen him before. He doesn't usually stick around very long.
Did you see him earlier today, or has it been a few days since he was last in?
I saw him yesterday. Not today, though. Until I came in earlier, but that's not unusual. And here's your warmed wine, dearie.
Thank you. He is gonna, as he turns to leave the bar, even though everything's been paid for, he is gonna slide a full silver coin onto the bar top and thank her for her time.
Well, you are welcome back here anytime, sweetie. Thank you so much for this. All right. Is there anything else you guys would like to do or talk about before bed? Oh, go ahead.
A toast to us, I guess, on our upcoming adventure. It's a magical crew with a servant of Lathander, a gnome who, as far as I can tell, can mix juice into fire, a elf who has fits of coughing and then appears atop a cliff, and another elf that turns into a wolf and back on command. This is a magical crew. Shantae must be proud.
Here's to us. Let's find what we're looking for.
U2 start softly playing in the background. Still haven't found what they were looking for.
All right.
So we've heard of Cher and U2 in this conversation.
Well, Cher is a very famous performer in Faerun.
Courage will have a sip the gin and have a slight coughing fit and set it down. All right, then, shall we I'm still going to go with the guards to check for the wolves at first light. Should we meet back here afterwards, or would you all like to join me at the gate? We could go straight from there. Anything else anyone needs to do in town?
Nope. All good. Ready to go.
I'm happy to go with you.
Right.
I'm not the earliest riser, if I'm being entirely honest. Well,
Second light, then.
I feel I've earned my lie-in at this point, so I may meet up with you all once you're prepared to make the trek into the woods.
Well, let's say maybe early lunch back here then. That gives me some time to stop by the temples here in Daggerford.
Well, this burgomaster did say first light. I understand you have other responsibilities, but we should probably get going as early as possible.
Shantae, forgive me. Alright, well, so we can check with the wolves and then meet back here and head out.
I don't think it's gonna take long, Courage.
Right? That was a short walk.
Yeah.
Unless
They'll be
there's
there or
some
they
kind
won't.
Unless there's some kind of intrigue or mystery, but seems unlikely.
Yeah. Alright, first light it is. See you all in the morning, good night! And she's gonna down the rest of her whiskey and go up the stairs. Maybe I'll sleep a full night without a voice in my head. Yay!
Just as Beatrix is like, you lay down and like just as you're falling into sleep, Beatrix. You're doing a great job.
Oh, thank you, thanks.
You're doing a great job. Keep following this path.
Okay, I appreciate it. I will. I gotta find her. I gotta find Judith. I gotta.
Find her. All right. Anything anyone else wants to do before bed?
As Beatrix falls asleep, she just hears colder. Colder.
Lucian, you asshole!
Courage will go to Orcslayer to settle up for Spear Slayer's drink. I promised to pay for her first gin.
Oh, you don't need to. We're happy to take care of Spear Slayer's drinks here.
She does seem like quite the hero. Well, thank you. And we're okay with rooms here for the night?
Oh, yes. We'll provide them to you. That's what I promised. Spear Slayer seems to believe you, so...
May Shantae help your garden grow.
Amen.
Courage will...
Also with you?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. The religious training is strong.
I'm sorry, and with your spirit.
Courage will step outside to try to look for the moon and the stars, and we'll try to have a short sit-down with Saloon, the goddess of the moon, just checking in, letting you know I'm here and willing to help. And I think we did some great things today. Imagine if that giant rose smiting that wolf had been a giant moon, Think about it. And then we'll head up and doff armor and say the creed of Shantae, and then go to sleep.
All right. You all get a full rest, full night's rest. And in the morning, so was it just Courage and Elandra that we're going to go out with Commander Sherlin Spearslayer?
I believe so, yes.
All right. You all meet up with her and head out to where the wolves were. And you find the 3 normal-sized wolves, but the 2 large dire wolves are missing. Sherlyn still believes you and forks over the 10 gold, and she'll give you all the gold for the party. So 50 gold in total. Per the promised reward, because they see this as still a job well done, even if the dire wolves seem to be missing.
And are there any clues as to the disappearance of the dire wolves? Courage will go look for any signs of if some creature dragged them off or if they melted.
Sure. Roll. I think this would be a nature check. Could be survival. I could see either one.
We'll try survival. Once I figure out. There it is.
Yeah, I'd say survival's right. All right, 10. You don't see anything. I'd say even with the 10, I think what might be a little odd is that you don't find any footprints, and you would have thought that these dire wolves would have made footprints because they're really big. But who knows? Maybe it was just like they were stepping on the soft grass and the ground sprung back overnight. You're not sure.
Well, Miss Spearslayer, thank you for this quest. It's been an honor to serve you and Daggerford, and it seems I and my compatriots have a journey today, but if we ever find ourselves back, we'll consider ourselves at your service.
Wonderful. I look forward to it. It's going to be great. She's very chipper as compared to last night.
And we'll... Elandra, would you like to carry this? How should we should share this with the group, of course, right? You don't think they all want to make donations to Shantae?
Oh, Jeanette, I think you're muted.
Nope.
All right. We'll head back. I think on the way, Courage will mention to Elandra, like, so have you done this much before? Did you know we should have brought body parts? It's never crossed my mind to cut off body parts of the things we've flown.
Never? Really? Never?
No, it's like you show up to a job and you found out that everyone else had orientation and you missed it. It's like out of a nightmare. All right. We'll get back and divide 10 gold to everyone. Courage will put 5 in the alms box, and I guess we're ready to go.
All right. We'll assume you all had a hearty breakfast before you left, unless there's a reason you wouldn't have, such as you're not a morning breakfast person.
Callow may not be an early riser, but he's definitely a breakfast person.
I feel like he would have a breakfast that is like big enough for a creature twice his size.
Yes, generally, yeah. Full, bacon, eggs, biscuits, everything, multiple servings of biscuits to sort of slop up all of the grease and the juices on the plate still.
Amazing. All right. So Argal had directed you to take the west road from here, and as you start to take the west road, it leads into the woods.
On the way out of town, does Courage ever see the Temple de Shantae?
I gotta double check my map.
To the map.
To the map.
Roll geographer.
Roll for geographer. Oh, this one's small. Let me look over here. Talk amongst yourselves. I don't think you walk past it for what it's worth. Like, you might see it at a distance. It's not, if I'm recalling correctly, it's not super far from where you were. I'm waiting for it to load. But it's also, you wouldn't walk past it. Because, like, the Lady Luck Tavern is, like, the very first thing that you encounter when you walk into town.
Okay, then we'll just, not seeing it, we'll offer to Shantea that I made an earnest effort to, I'll drop this off as soon as I can, but we have more good to do.
I would say if you wanted to drop it off, it's not like a long walk. It's like 2 minutes.
2 minutes? Okay.
Yeah. It's just like you wouldn't walk past it, but it's also not far away.
Sure. As Callow's waking up, then I'll be right back. Give me 2 minutes. And Courage will hurry over and find the Temple Master very quickly. I'm Courage Puredeed, up from Greenest, hero of Shantea. We've collected this in her name, and we'll. Where's the contribution box?
It's right back there, child. Thank you so much. Shantea appreciates your contribution and hopes that it grows into a fruitful harvest.
Well said. And we'll, drop off the 5 gold and sprint back.
Excellent.
Quick test. Can you hear me?
Oh, there you are.
Yes.
Oh, good. Okay, thanks.
Was there anything that Elandra wanted to say during the little outing to go get the wolf stuff?
Let's just keep going.
Okay.
I felt like I got what Elandra was saying.
Totally. All right. So as you enter the woods, they're very quiet, and the air grows chill. Also, let me stitch this. There we go. Because we're no longer in the tavern. We're on the road. The fog from last night is still hanging pretty thick in the air, and it turns the trees around you into gray ghosts. As you enter the woods, I would say Courage, with your high passive perception, you would almost immediately notice like a funny shape up ahead. And overgrown with vines, you would see it's a signpost.
Looks like we're on a path of some sort. I'll check it out.
You sort of push away the ivy that's overgrown it a bit, and it says Barovia and has an arrow pointing deeper into the woods. The road itself has these deep wagon ruts that you can see.
And about how far into our journey was this?
Not super far. I would say you're like 5 minutes into the woods.
Okay, so I grew up a little further from here, but I really didn't realize there was another town just this north of Daggerford.
I grew up close to here, and I didn't realize it either. I think what Lucian was saying about the disappearing land is probably a clue. The question is, what entity powerful enough to make a land disappear wants us to come?
I mean, it seems like you're God, for one.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I would expect that if Lathander was making the road appear, it would have more sun on it. But that is a possibility.
I also don't remember there being woods.
I'd say the woods did not crop up mysteriously. I think it would be fair to say you didn't remember the woods to seem so thick and never ending, as these might appear from where you are now.
Okay. Should we decide on marching order?
I would love for you to decide on a marching order. That sounds great.
I'm happy to walk wherever. I could bring up the rear. I could walk in the front. I'm fine. Basically, think of me as a mid shield.
The road is also wide enough to walk 2 abreast, maybe even 3. Should you want to do that.
I'm obviously happy to take lead. I do know, if I do so, I'm pretty sure anything will hear us coming.
Yeah, me too. I've also got pretty heavy armor on.
That's
maybe...
okay. I mean, they shall know our names anyway. We want them. Who are we hiding from?
True. Well, Courage, you want to go in front? I can bring up the rear.
Happily.
And how do we want the middle to arrange itself?
Lucian will stay somewhere in the middle of the pack. He'll let large armored folks lead the way. He's going to be trying to do whatever he can not to step in these wet, muddy wagon ruts.
Hi, Miles.
I'll go in second position.
Sounds great.
Callow will walk more or less near Lucian.
Okay. Yeah, we can see you guys are kind of next to each other.
Middle.
And Beatrix bringing up the rear. All right. As you guys enter deeper into the woods, black pools of water stand like dark mirrors in and around the muddy roadway. Giant trees loom on both sides of the road, their branches clawing at the mist. You can walk for a while. Is there anything you want to be doing on your walk? Perception checks? Are you looking for anything? He did. So Argal, as you may recall, mentioned it was going to be about a 5-hour walk.
Callow would like to sort of examine the trees. Was there anything unusual about the trees? Anything unusual? Like, do they seem like the normal trees that would be present in this part of the world?
Yeah, I'd say so. They just seem a little I guess they're a little creepier than you'd normally expect, but that could be the fog, you know?
Mm-hmm. But like the species and the size and everything is to be expected.
To be expected. It's a very old growth forest in general, but not in like a super weird way. It's like, oh, I didn't realize that this big old growth forest was here. And as you go deeper in, the trees are more closely clustered.
Also, because I can, keen mind, which compass direction are we headed, and how many hours until sunset?
You're headed west. We're going to say daybreak was at about 6:30. The wolf errand plus getting out on the road, you probably left around 8. So depending on when you're asking in the trip, it could be anywhere between 8 and 1 p.m.
Great. Okay.
8 a.m. and 1 p.m. Sorry, I should have specified the
yes.
PMs.
No, yes, that
math
made sense once I thought about it. Okay. First of many of those
about like the health, or how are the trees looking? How are the plants looking? Are they dead? Are they alive? Is everything sort of? What does it look like?
Courage also curious.
There is not a lot of plant growth on the ground because the canopy of the trees is so dense. Also, to that effect, the trees, they have very tall limbs, so that it's not like they have a lot of branches close to the ground with leaves, but the leaves up high all look pretty normal.
And no signs of rot or decay or sickliness.
Right.
Not at this point in your journey, no.
Okay. Courage will cast light on her shield. Just because it might not be dark, but it seems dark, and keep an eye out.
Beatrix is listening for the sound of anything that might sound like a predator, whether it be humanoid or animal or other?
Yeah, roll a perception check for me.
Nope. Oops.
We've got a barnacle.
Hi, Barney. Hi, Barney.
Hey, buddy. Oh, you're such a good boy. You're such a good boy. All right. Ooh, 21.
Ooh.
All today.
Yeah, you don't hear anything. In fact, like, the woods are quite still.
I'm gonna say...
You'll hear the occasional bird fly by.
Yeah. I'm gonna say it's quiet. Too quiet.
It does feel a little eerie.
Now, if I can ask, empirically speaking, what constitutes too quiet?
It means I don't hear anything except for us and birds, and that's weird in a forest.
I think it's similar to, like, you know, you do something at first light or you do something at second light, you know. It might be one quiet, it might be two quiet.
All right. As you get further into the woods, the fog is becoming more and more dense. It seems to almost swallow up the road behind you. The trees become closer together as you walk along, and you start to see a little bit more like fungal growth happening because it's wetter here. Ahead on the road, jutting from these impenetrable woods on both sides of the road, are these, you see high stone buttresses looming gray in the fog. Huge iron gates hang on the stonework. Let me see, do this. I wish I could do two things at once. All right. Dew clings with cold tenacity to the rusted bars. Two headless statues of armed guardians flank the gate, their heads now lying among the weeds at their feet. They greet you with silence.
How long have we been walking for?
This is 5 hours.
Oh, this is at the end of the 5 hours.
Yeah, if there was anything else, sorry, that you wanted to do during that 5 hours.
No. That is
No, it's a good clarifying question.
Is this something that we're experiencing before we would have expected to run into our destination?
And is this like a turn off the road, or like the road goes straight into this?
The road goes straight into this.
Was that a 5-hour-long driveway?
So it would seem.
What's a driveway?
It's when people like in Greenest we had a bunch of carts to drop off deliveries, crops. When people would drive their cart up to their farm, they called that spot where the path off the main road where they drove it.
Interesting. We just drive our carts where the people walk.
Yeah. Some people call them cartways.
Do the gates look
paths.
like they've been opened recently, Emily?
Footpath.
How close would you say you are to the gates right now?
How close did you say we were?
I didn't.
So can we just see them? Or like how, I don't know.
Yeah, they're huge. Like they're really big. It's not like a 6-foot gate in the ground, right? This is like multiple stories. I'm terrible at estimating how tall things are. Okay. Like, yeah, Tom's obviously like 6'3". Very bad.
Is there a way for us to basically tell, have the gates been opened? Are there vines growing on them? Like, has anyone been going through these gates?
The gates they don't appear to be rusted shut or plant or like overgrown. Do you guys approach?
These the statues that stand to each side that are headless. Do they look like the as we approach and get closer and closer, Lucian is going to be studying them, looking them over, trying to see if he sees any kind of hammer or chisel marks on them, specifically like if one of the heads is anywhere, if they're at their feet or rolling in the weeds, something like that. Trying to determine, like, these heads didn't just fall off. Were they deliberately removed? And what are these statues depicting? Is there something here that he can gain some kind of insight or knowledge of? It just seems very strange to have, someone built these or erected these massive statues to guard the gates, but yet their heads are missing.
Mm-hmm. You see their heads like lying in piles of weeds at their feet. You can either take a look at the heads themselves, or if you wanted to try to climb up the 12, 14, 20, don't know, tall statues in front of you.
I'm not a climber. I'll look at the heads.
I didn't think so. Okay. I would say, so looking at the heads, it's tough to tell because they're really weathered. It's not clearly a clean cut, but it's also not jagged. It looks like it's been worn away by wind and water and time. It could have happened, you suspect it could have happened naturally, but it's possible somebody cut them off as well.
Is there any kind of adornment on their shields or about the gates? Any kind of signage or imagery?
Well, as I should have said, as you walked up to examine these heads, the gates swing open, screeching as the hinges move.
As Lucian
they
moves
open
up,
open in or out?
They open out towards you.
Do we see anything behind the gate?
Looks like more road, more woods. And Jaime, I will send you what. I'll try to put it in the thing. I'll send you what's on the shields, but it's very worn away, so don't take it too seriously.
As Lucian approaches, Courage was showing some trepidation, but would at least keep up even with him, seeing him move forward. And will, I don't think yell, but will at least say, "Hello, we're here at the behest of Aragal to see Burgomaster Polyan Adurovich to help your arena."
You just hear the whoosh of the wind.
Does anything look different on the other side of the gates, or is it really just the woods and the road continues exactly as before?
Any kind of a gatehouse or anything on the other side?
Do you walk through the gates?
Not yet.
You don't see it from this side of the gates. You don't see a gatehouse or anything.
Yeah, Lucian's just going to walk on through.
All right.
This is a mystery he's absolutely enthralled by. Strange gates opening up, headless statues, a weird, gigantic wall that just cuts across the woods. Like, yeah, he's looking around in wonder, just checking everything.
Courage will be.
He's walking into.
Courage keeps up with him. This must be a magic gate, right? It just opens.
Maybe.
Elandra and Callow, do you follow?
Yeah, I'll follow if everybody else is on their own.
Yeah. With caution.
Elandra, being the most cautious of all of you, crosses the gates last, and as soon as she does, slam! They close behind you.
Okay, Beatrix is very wary, but she figures Lathander sent her here. She's hopefully going to get some answers here. She's still going to activate Divine Sense. Until the end of my next turn, which, I don't know, what do we call that?
6 seconds from now.
6 seconds.
Yeah. I can sense anything affected by the Hallow spell, or know the location of any celestial, fiend, or undead within 60 feet, not behind total cover.
How many feet? 60?
60.
Can you tell me about this Hallow spell? I'm not familiar with it.
I do not know what the Hallow spell is, but I will Google it.
Alright, excellent. Holy or unholy power. Okay.
Here we go. Yeah. You know the type celestial, fiend, or undead of any being whose presence you sense, but not its identity. The vampire Count Strahd von Zarovich, for example. It literally says that. Within the same radius, you detect the presence of any object or place that has been consecrated or desecrated, as with the Hallow spell. What is the Hallow spell? Hallow spell D&D. You can touch a point and infuse an area around it with holy or unholy power. Okay.
Okay. I think, but I also want to double check, that nothing, thank you, Lucian said this. Ooh. Oh, wait, did you whisper that to me, Jaime? I'm sorry.
I did.
Excellent.
He's whisper.
Yeah. I didn't know we could do that. That's very exciting.
Yeah.
So I would say you cast out this divine sense, and for the most part, it's just woods around you. They are even thicker or denser than they were before. They seem taller. You can't even really see the tops at this point. There's like such heavy gray mist, and the light is really thin here. If Courage wasn't casting light on her shield, it'd be difficult to see for those without dark vision. It is also even quieter on this side of the gates than it was on the other. Although it's silent, it's also, there's like a feeling of an unvoiced scream. It's like oppressive, and you have this feeling up your spine. This is everybody, that like someone is watching you. Your divine sense doesn't pick up any beings in the immediate vicinity, but you get a weird ping off Lucian. It's not Lucian himself, but something on his person.
I'm gonna turn.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm gonna turn to Lucian and I'm gonna say, "Why does my divine sense ping off you?"
What's this ping?
Like, I mean, I don't know. Have you ever used Shantae's power to, like, sense around you? And something's weird and it goes ping!
Oh, yes. It's more like a zoom.
Yeah, well, Lathander likes ping! And something about Lucian is pinging! So...
I'm sure I have no idea what it is that you're talking about. Are you sure this isn't just more of the voices in your head telling you things?
Well, it sounds like voices tell you a lot of stuff too, so I wouldn't be judgmental, Lucian.
Well, I'm not hearing voices. I actually speak directly with undead. They quite literally can stand before me.
Okay, cool. Has anyone ever seen you do this?
Amongst this group? Certainly not.
Alright, well, I'll believe it when I see it. Why does Lathander think you're creepy?
Because I am creepy.
Can I cast Detect Magic?
You absolutely can.
Okay, let me figure out how to do that in here again. How do you do this?
Lucian, you don't serve Helm, do you?
I'm sorry. Well, there was a cutout on my end.
Lucian, you don't serve Helm, do you?
Helm? No, I serve no god.
Oh, because that could have explained it. Lathanders and Helm don't get along, so it might have led to this ping.
Okay, who do you serve, though? Because I know how warlocks work.
My patron is an ancient silver dragon.
Huh. Interesting. That could be it.
It's amazing. Are you descended from this dragon?
No. I am an Elandra of the Fae. I was born and raised and lived most of my younger life in the Feywild as a member of the Unseelie Court.
I've never been. Is it nice?
How do you feel about coldest winter?
Like first winter. I mean, Shantae is obviously less a fan, prefers the growing seasons, but to have seasons, there must be every season. Personally, though, I'm not a big fan of the cold.
Clearly you have never entered the Feywild. The Gloaming Court is a place of purest winter, and it never changes. There is no spring, no summer, no fall. The land ruled by Mab is a cold, cold place, befitting her people.
But you seem nice. Shall we?
Just so everyone knows, the gates aren't just iron and rust. There's some magic about them.
Called it.
Well, thanks, Elandra. That's useful information. All right, I don't really see any way ahead but forward. Let's
Elandra,
keep the marching order.
How was it when you sensed it was magic? Was it more like a, or was it like a ping?
I don't think it made any sound like that.
Oh.
Does magic
like
make sounds when you cast it?
Chimes.
A little bit, yeah. Depending on... I mean, I imagine Lathander's pretty loud in his divine powers. Shantae is a little bit more soft-spoken. You know, she's not much for pomp or pageantry. All right, let's go do some good.
All right, as you keep moving, Courage. This is going to happen a lot. Courage has a really high passive perception. Courage, you catch the scent of death on the air, like decay, rot.
Uh-oh. Anyone else smell that?
From?
As soon as Courage points it out, I would say anyone with higher than like a 13 passive perception can smell it.
Can't smell shit.
You have really good passive investigation, as I recall.
Yes, I do.
My passive perception is not quite high enough to get it, unfortunately.
Mine's 15.
Wow. Yeah, so you definitely smell it as well, then, Elandra.
Lucian's got a 16.
All right, Lucian, you too.
And do we know what it is? Can I tell what it is?
You can go try to find it. Like, it's definitely the smell of death.
Is it animal? Is it plant? Is it...
definitely more animal scent, like an animal decaying scent, not plant scent.
And coming from off the path or ahead of us?
Go ahead and make a survival roll.
Like a sniff check.
Yeah, exactly. I might also take a perception, but no, your survival's excellent. Yeah, it's off to the right in the woods. But it smells close with that 21 survival check.
Ooh. There's something sickly here off to the right.
Shall we go find it?
Yeah, I think we should check it out. Shantae would want me to... If the land is dying, it's kind of my job to do something about that.
I'm with you, sister.
As they say, let no day pass in which you have not helped the living thing flourish.
Is it beyond the walls?
On the walls. So with the 21 survival, Courage, you're able to find it pretty quickly, following your nose, the worst type of following your nose. And the foul scent, you quickly find a human corpse that's half buried in the underbrush, about 15 feet off the road. You're not too far.
Oh, found it.
Oh, that's awful.
It's not great.
How can we tell how long has it been dead, and are there visible wounds or injuries?
Go ahead and make a medicine check for me.
Well, as Callow passes by me, Courage will tap him on the shoulder and yeah, check it out and cast guidance.
All right, yeah, add a d4 to that.
Yeah. Well, I guess what can I do? I just do this. Right? There we go.
Amazing, 16.
Yeah, 16.
All right, with the 16, this body has been here. You're not sure of like an exact day, but you would guess it's been here for approximately a week, based on the state of decay that it's in. Are you trained in medicine? I should have started with that question.
I do have proficiency in medicine. Yes.
Okay, yeah, then you would know this. That it's a human male, and it looks like it's been ripped apart by animals. You see teeth marks and claw marks covering its body.
Can I?
You
tell
can also
what
tell
kind of animal.
Yeah, I'd say so. It's wolves. You're pretty sure. It's the body has also been clearly pecked by crows. It's been here for a week, so it's not a huge surprise. And you can still see some of the paw prints in the ground around him.
Lucian's going to dig through his pockets and see if he can find anything on the corpse.
All right. I'm not even going to make you do a check for that. You searching through his pockets. He doesn't have anything in the pockets, but you notice in his hand he has a crumpled up piece of paper.
Going to take that and invest and take a look at it.
All right. So you open it up. And you see it's a piece of paper that's been folded and sealed, and it's got a wax seal with a large B set into it. The paper itself is very worn and flimsy.
Does it look like the letter we got?
The letter you had a different seal that looked closer to what was on the shields of the statues outside. And it was on very fine parchment with clearly like very nice ink. You can tell a beautiful quill was used to pen it. This one looks cheap. Like the pen is very scratchy, the paper flimsy.
While they're checking it out, Courage will look for a spot to dig out a shallow grave. You like some stones you can move aside to create a divot, or we'll use the bottom of her shield as a shovel.
Yeah, it's I'll say she struggles a little bit, just because it's tough to find a spot here that doesn't have too many trees clustered together, but you're able to get at least like a good 6 foot area where you can sort of finagle him between some tree roots. Tree roots is what I meant to say.
Is there anything suspicious about how this human died? Can we tell anything outside of the animal reactions? Like, are there any wounds that aren't caused by animals?
No other wounds that weren't caused by animals. Like you feel pretty confident that he was killed by wolves and big wolves at that.
You said the body is kind of like half buried.
Yes.
So Lucian is going to turn to Elandra, knowing that she has an affinity with animals, and ask her, "Have you ever seen wolves bury its prey?"
No. No, this is not like a typical situation.
What does the paper say?
A great question. You open it up and... Oh, hold on, I gotta fix one thing. All right. I'm gonna try to share it. And go.
It looks like I've got the same... Is it a different letter or the same letter?
It is a different letter. At least it should be.
No, I see two of Colian. Does everyone else see that?
Yes.
Yes.
But it's a different... The handwriting is different?
Mm-hmm.
Here, I'll add a 2 to the second one, so you can tell them apart faster.
Similar,
no, you're right. It's different handwriting.
It's second.
And exactly. And there's a date on this one. It's dated about 1 week ago.
Well, this is interesting.
Oh, I think that the text underneath is the same, but the text in the actual letter is different.
Yes. So this one says in the text, "Hail thee of might and valor! I, the burgomaster of Barovia, send you honor with despair. My adopted daughter, the fair Irina Koliana, has been these something nights, bitten by a vampire. For over 400 years, this creature has drained the lifeblood of my people. Now my something Irina languishes and dies from an unholy wound caused by this vile beast. He's become too powerful to conquer. So I say to you, give us up for dead and encircle this land with symbols of good. Let holy men call upon their power that the devil may be contained within the walls of weeping Barovia. We something our sorrows to our graves and save the world from this something fate of ours. There's much wealth entrapped in this community. Return something, your reward after we are all departed for a better life." Do I know what a vampire is?
I think you all would have heard of vampires, if you will. But they're not very common. It's one of those, a boogeyman kind of story, but people know that they exist in the world. Also, I think I updated the text, so you can...
Okay. So this letter is much more specific.
Mine still has the old text.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah, mine does too.
Dang it.
Maybe unshare or reshare.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
What did you find there, Lucian?
It would appear to be another letter very similar to our own, but with far different explanations of what the Burgomaster is experiencing. I wonder if this was another adventurer drawn here by Aragal, or another of his ilk.
Are you saying that this body was perhaps recruited as a hero as well?
He certainly carries a letter similar enough to our own.
What do we all know about vampires? And I just know they suck blood. That's about all I know. No one I know has ever encountered one, as far as I know. Any of you have any experience?
Well, I've certainly heard various legends, and I do know that. Well, at one point I was interested in some research on certain revenants of this kind, but I can't say I have any first-hand experience with such a creature.
But the first letter, does it call for a hero to come help, or?
Yes. The first letter wants help. The second letter seems to call for containment. Second letter seems to convey that there isn't any hope of defeating the vampire.
Do we still have the original letter? Now that we're this side of the gates, can we look at it?
I'll pull it out and hand it to Lucian.
Is there anything different in the letter? Has it changed at all, or is it the same text that we originally saw?
Same text you originally saw. Letter looks the same.
So Lucian,
as it did when you looked at it before.
So Lucian's going to compare the two and say that they're both from the Burgermeister, though the first says it is the love of his life, and the second calls Irina his daughter. And
the handwritings look clearly different to me.
There appears to be a noticeable difference in the style, the composition, I would say, the tone between these two letters.
Do I believe
Not
the
to
letter?
mention the use of pronouns.
Yeah. Signed by the same person with different handwriting is suspicious.
The question is, were either of these letters, if any, written by a real Kolyan Indirovich?
Likely not. This might be a trap.
Oh! You're in the distance.
Can we do insight checks, investigation checks to see if either of these letters seems believable, if any?
You can. I was struggling with this. I almost asked Courage to do one. But you have the letters. So I would say, you can truly use... If you feel like you as a player are struggling to get insight, that's fine. I don't think your characters are going to be able to glean anything necessarily more than you guys would be able to as players. Does that make sense?
No, that does make sense. Okay. At least one's a fake.
Or both.
I think maybe they may both be fakes. I think maybe you're right.
I hope that they are both fakes, but the second letter, at least to me, seems to ring more of the truth. It warns people away. It's not asking for aid. It's telling you to draw up walls, surround it with the symbols of goodly gods, to weep for lost Barovia. That doesn't seem like something you would send to entice people to come here. It makes me question whether or not we have fallen ill of some plot. Why would Aragol say that his master wishes to speak with us and seek our aid, yet this one is telling whomever this poor unfortunate soul is dead in the dirt in front of us to stay away until Barovia is, nothing but dust. I pray they're both not true, but if one has more of a sense of truth to it, I think it's the second one.
Courage will look in the direction of the howling. Does she see anything or have any sense of how far away it was?
If she looks in that direction, she hears, oh, and there's two wolves. They are still, you would say that they are, I have to do math. I have to do math. They're still a distance away, but they sounded closer this time than last time.
A distance.
Well, we might want to keep moving either direction, and she will be less gentle.
I assume you're in the woods. So.
She'll, instead of carefully unburying the half-buried man, she'll more kind of just yank him up from his armpits and lay him in the shallow grave, moving a bit quicker.
I think whatever evil is here, it's something I'm supposed to deal with, and Beatrix is going to turn on her heel and walk back toward the house.
Back toward the road.
I am going to see...
back toward the road and then, back toward the gates.
If there are wolves that have caught our scent, and they're the same that ravaged this poor soul, I suggest we put our back to the gates. At the least, it will let us defend ourselves. If they don't approach, we can check and see if the gates will allow us to exit. I would rather know if we are trapped here, or if we have a means of escape if we choose.
Does anyone think Aragorn might be a vampire?
Maybe, but he's not here now, so that sounds like a later problem.
Courage will keep moving quickly, put the body, cover it up hastily, and will, if you allow some free flavor, reach into a small pouch and throw some flower seeds. Say, from death there shall be new life. May Shantae welcome you. All right, let's move. I agree with Lucian. That sounds fair.
Back to the gates, then?
Yes.
You return to the road, and the wolf howling doesn't seem to be getting any closer. And the gates are just a few feet behind you.
Courage will try to open them.
They don't open.
Please open.
Lucian's going to say, put your back into it and cast guidance on her.
We'll try again.
Sure, make a strength check.
Let's see. I'm trying to think. Would she be careful with her decorative pauldrons? We'll probably go for the boot kick. A strength check, you say?
A strength check, I say.
With that D4, you say? A 10.
You angrily shake the bar. No, you're boot kicking.
My foot comes against the bars and angrily shakes.
Exactly.
All right. Beatrix is going to close her eyes and try to talk to Lathander again.
Leaving so soon, child?
Clearly this was a trap, my guy. Did you mean us to walk into it? And if so, why? Oh, wow, I rhymed that one.
This is the path you were meant to walk. Stay on it.
Okay, Lathander says we gotta keep going forward. I'm gonna go back to the road and start walking forward.
Lucian's just going to very quietly look at everyone around the gates and go, does anyone else have a problem with this voice in her head?
Well, there is certainly much to be debated when it comes to the actual nature of so-called religious experiences, whether or not they be internally generated or somehow provided by some external deity. I don't believe it's for us to know exactly where these voices may come from. And then Callow's going to turn to the gates and pull out a couple of his vials, and again toss the contents of the two vials such that the streams connect in midair and rapidly ignite, and a firebolt streaks towards the gate, just to see if he can sort of melt a hole into the bars or something.
Whoosh! Fire hits the gate, dissipates, and you see some glow, like the metal glows red, but doesn't look any different.
Magic,
I was
I tell
do
you.
that through the fire last night. Amazing. Sorry, Elandra.
What?
What did you say?
I just said magic, I tell you.
I mean, Professor Callow, it seems like you're mixing juice into flame.
Well,
Come on, folks.
It's a simple chemical reaction to produce an instantaneous and rather powerful bolt of fire.
Come
Seems
on,
like magic.
folks. You said you wanted an adventure. Here is the adventure.
How
Let's
far
go.
have you walked ahead of us?
Call it 20 paces. Not far.
Do we hear the wolves? Are they any closer?
The wolf howling seems to have disappeared now that you're back on the road.
Lucian, speaking of voices in heads, that was your voice in my head last night, right?
You're finally getting warmer.
Well, if we were to take the first letter at I guess ink value, then it seems like we should try to get word out to holy people. Is there any way you could let word know beyond these gates?
Oh,
We could
come
leave a
on.
note here,
Courage.
While I
Live up to your name. Do you not count as a holy person?
While I wish that I could speak over greater distances, what you saw was but a minor parlor trick. If I cannot see that which I wish to speak to, I cannot transmit my messages.
No, Beatrix, I'll be coming. I'm going to smite this evil, but I do also respect the chain of command. You know, you have your gods, and then you have your priesthoods, and then your acolytes, and then et cetera, et cetera. And
Seems
I, for
to
one,
me
would like
heroes
to-
would be outside the command structure.
I would like to give them an opportunity to prove their worth as well. At least if the original Burgomaster, which, I'll be honest, I don't know what a Burgomaster is, but it sounds important, so I would assume they know what they're talking about. It seems like a top tier in whatever religion this is.
What happened to fake it till you make it?
Do y'all keep walking down the road?
Shall we? Onward!
After about another hour of walking, you see some tall shapes loom out of the dense fog. The muddy ground underfoot gives way to slick, wet cobblestones. Eventually, the tall shapes become recognizable as village dwellings. You are entering the village of Barovia, and I think that's where we're going to stop tonight.
Ooh. Ooh.
Great job, guys.
Woo!
Let's go ahead and funsies. Little preview.
Ooh,
Here we go.
it's lovely this time of day.
Amazing job.
Thank you, Emily.
Thank you, that was awesome.
Oh my gosh, you guys were amazing. I was so worried I was under-prepped. Lol.
No.
It's just lol, because, it's really... I was thinking today about how awesome it is to DM for you guys, because you, RP. I've only really DM'd with a, one-shot exception for new players that don't RP much, and so it's, a lot of burden on the Dungeon Master, and that's true.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure Jamie knows you have to have, a lot prepped for the session, because you're going to fly through it. Yeah. Anyway. Oh, and Connor too. You've DM for new people.
Yes, for people who don't RP very much. So yeah.
It was kind of me RPing all by myself. It was not.
Yeah,
awesome.
it was a little bit sometimes. Yeah, it's all right.
This stoic former noble wizard is awfully chatty for how stoic he's supposed to be.
No, I would be very excited to at some point do more DMing for RP people. Yes. No, I know I've mentioned that book that I bought that hopefully should be coming in like October or something, but and I think it would be a totally different vibe, very different vibe.
Speaking of a totally different vibe, for those of you who would be interested in like 5th edition magic and rules, but set in like an alternate history Earth, check out Historica Arcanum. They're doing a lot of stuff like set in like the Silk Road, the Crusades. Yeah, like special classes, special. I mean, it's 5th edition rules, but in a completely different setting. They've got a bunch of stuff on Kickstarter.
The invasion of the Americas.
Yeah, I saw that and thought.
Do that.
And thought
that's my actual job. I'll be sitting there like, that's not what Quetzalcoatl is.
I saw a review of that and instantly thought of this group, that if there was any group that could appreciate that kind of alternate historical setting, it would be this group.
Yeah, they were on the list of awards.
Yeah.
From this team.
Yep.
I recognize that skull with the mustache.
Yeah, they've won a bunch of Ennies for their settings.
Oh, and they're partnering with Alchemy RPG on this. Sorry.
Victorian era Istanbul. That sounds cool. I would also be like super up for like, I know that like if we at some point exploring totally different systems. Like I don't know if we would ever have any interest in. I don't know. I don't know much about these new Critical Role systems, but they sounds interesting. I don't know. I
will 100% play Candela Obscura. The quick start guide is fantastic, and the show is amazing.
I still haven't watched any of the show, but I would love to know more about how the system works and how the game goes.
It's a very simple system that they're working off of, and for those who have played or have either seen the games or played in the games, Candela Obscura is like a mixture of Blades in the Dark and Vaesen.
So it's all like D6 based.
Yep, it's completely D6 based. It is
powered by the Apocalypse, right?
It's called Worlds Without Numbers, so it's slightly different. It's a system built off of Powered by the Apocalypse originally.
Right, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's heavily directed at role play. It's much less about combat. It's much less about like active action based encounters. It's much more about investigation, solving mysteries. It's it's the same reason why I love Vaesen. Which, by the way, the V1 for Alchemy is starting to release pieces. I might have the Vaesen enhanced game system in Alchemy sometime here in the near future. If we get a night where M needs some time to prep and that kind of things and doesn't have time for a game, we could always do a one-shot and try a different system.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Fun.
Yeah. Yeah, if you have not watched the Candela Obscura episodes yet, I highly recommend them. Even though the two, the second, she's so good as Augie. Oh my god! If you can imagine her as like a newsy type character with a really bad New York accent, she's so good.
We've only watched like the first hour, but I love her as a player in general, and it's especially great in this setting because she's just like the whole time, which is also like accurate to her character, but like she's so into it, and it's just like the best. It makes my heart happy.
It's the second set of episodes that are out now. With the different, I should say the second one is out, but the first episode is out with the second cast. It's not Matt DMing. It's I forget his name, but it's one of the gentlemen that actually is. That's it, Spencer, who is he's
one of the guys that actually created the game, right?
And what's interesting is that, and I see this a lot with folks who GM for Blades in the Dark. Candela Obscura has a very cinematic game style in the way that they describe things in terms of like cameras moving in and out. Like we pan to this, we focus in on this. Brennan Lee Mulligan plays in the new one. I'm a huge fan of his. I think he's fucking incredible as a improv actor or in role player. Let's just say there's a crazy amount of like action on a train as they're trying to recover an artifact, and it's so friggin' good. It's a very cool game system. Like, you know, that kind of mixture of like this odd alternative Victorian England-esque Daskavar Blades in the Dark type of city called the Fairlands, with just this strange, you know, mysterious magical something. I like the direction they're going, and it's the quick start is free. It's not a difficult game to learn.
Yeah, I just downloaded the quick start so I'll take some horror over that. I would love to read that.
Yeah, and if you like horror based games, but where it's not based on the Cthulhu mythology, it's Candela's pretty cool.
Although we are in Cthulhu land right now. We are.
It's true.
H.P. Lovecraft.
This is the birthplace of Lovecraft.
Yeah, the Lovecraft house is.
You two are physically. At first, I thought you meant like Strahd, and I was like, no, this is more like Gothic horror.
No, physically, we are in Cthulhu land because H.P. We just the other day walked past the place where there was a little plaque by the sidewalk that said marked that near this place was the place where Lovecraft was born. So
honestly, Lovecraft has always bounced off me. I don't get it. Oh no, tentacles! Oh no,
cosmic horror is
unknowable.
Weird.
Oh no, like oh no, I can't know it. Oh God, oh no, my eyes can't perceive. No. Whatever. There are a lot of things my eyes don't perceive.
Well, I feel like Lovecraft is like Lovecraft as a writer is meaningful and important, not for his own work, but because of the
impact. Yeah, you're right.
Influence, because actually, like reading Lovecraft is like talk about a homework assignment. Reading it can be very it can be.
I tried a couple years ago and was like, nope.
Yeah,
pass.
No, exactly. No. It can be a slog, and it's just sort of like, really, just you found a way to make this racist? That's impressive.
Yeah. I find the like more New England Gothic horror much more compelling.
Yep.
But if you are interested in exploring cosmic horror a little bit more, some of my favorite board games are based on like that trope, that genre, because it's, what's the word I want? It's I keep wanting to say open source. That's the wrong terminology.
It's not
it's like not copyrighted.
Copyright, yeah.
It's public domain.
Yeah,
that's the word I wanted.
Public domain.
Cthulhu mythos is public domain. Yeah.
Yeah. So like a lot of board games use it, and like some of my gateway games were based on that. And it wasn't necessarily because I like horror, but the games themselves are super fun. Oh, they're so good. Highly recommend. So yeah, happy to play. It's like there's one that's a board game and one that's a card game that I really enjoy. You almost always lose, but in a good way. It's the fun kind of losing.
That's kind of how cosmic horror goes.
Exactly.
It's more of a how long can you survive?
Yes, that's a really good framing. My sister thought it was really funny. We played Mansions of Madness, and the first time we played, my character went insane because she had a really low threshold for it. And I was just giggling with glee about this insanity. So the way it gets, you get an insanity condition, and your personal win condition changes from the rest of your team, but you can't tell them what it is. And I just find this a delightful mechanic.
Pure evil. Looking ahead, looks like we have Wednesday penciled in next week. And then the week after is full for us, I think. But the week after that, the week of the 9th, we're pretty open any day that week.
My calendar says that we have Sunday penciled in, Sunday the 1st, as our next.
Oh, yes, I do have that.
Not Wednesday.
Yep.
I also have that.
Yep.
Okay.
Agreed.
Okay. Well, how do we feel about, let's see, Sunday the 15th?
Good, except Emily and I are going to go see the Swift concert movie that evening at 6:30.
I'm
Jeanette's
gone.
So not good at all, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, we could do morning.
We could do it earlier in the day, but
Yeah, early in the day.
Second night, third night.
Yeah.
I'll be out of town
Okay.
through the 15th.
Ah, okay.
Well, what about the middle of the week, like the 11th or the 10th?
I can do the week of the 16th, but that prior week is bunk.
Okay.
I think
Yeah,
that'll be easier for
We
me.
can. We could do
Before
Monday,
Thursday.
Tuesday. Yeah, we could do Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday of that week.
Yeah.
That weekend we'll be in Boston for our friend's wedding.
This wedding. If it happens,
Wow.
it might not be happening.
Uh-oh.
Not to do with them. It's to do.
No,
to do
it's
with.
the groom's mother has decided to declare that she's not going to get the COVID booster.
Even though they asked everybody, hey, it would be really great if you would please do this prior to our wedding. COVID is still a thing.
And it seems to us to be much more about a power struggle between mother and son rather than anything else. But he's really angry and is like, Mom, how dare you make this about you? And why you want to fight me? And if you want to fight me, I guess I'll just get married at City Hall. Ah! So
That's hard.
I don't know.
I mean, there will probably be a wedding. The question will be, will they cancel the whole party and literally just have us? Because Sally's the officiant who's marrying them, so it may just be the two of us and the two of them.
Yeah. I don't know. The whole thing's a little messy.
Amazing. Well, I vote the 16th just because sooner is better. So I'll send an invite for that, and if something comes up, we can share it.
Perfect.
Is that okay, Jeanette? I saw that you wrote in the chat that your vote is the 17th.
I'll make it work.
Oh, we can move to 17th.
17th is honestly a little easier for me because it's in my class schedule. Tuesdays and Wednesdays are a little easier.
Yeah, I'm gone for 4 or 5 days, and I get back on Sunday, so the Monday might be just a little rough.
The 16th or the 17th, either one, they make no difference.
Yeah, that works for us.
So
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah. Cool.
Cool.
Yay! Awesome job, guys.
All right.
All
Yay, everybody!
right.
Good to see you.
See you all soon.
See you soon.
All right.
Bye.
Have a good night.
We've all survived through 2 sessions.
No one's dead.
I really like this party. I don't want you guys to die.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, all.
Goodbye.
Bye.